June 6, 1944. The largest amphibious invasion in human history. More than 150,000 Allied soldiers, thousands of ships, months of planning, years of war leading to this single moment. And now imagine, it fails. Not because of one mistake, but because everything goes wrong at once. The weather turns brutal, heavy winds scatter the landing craft, paratroopers miss their drop zones by miles. German radar, which in our world was partially blinded, remains operational. Reinforcements move faster than expected. Machine gun fire tears through the beaches. Communication collapses. Commanders lose contact with entire divisions. By the end of the day, Normandy is not a foothold. It is a graveyard. Thousands of soldiers die on the beaches. For nothing. And for the first time since the war began, the Allies are forced to retreat. The world wakes up to shocking headlines. D-Day repelled. Operation Overlord fails. Europe still under Nazi control. For civilians across occupied Europe, hope collapses overnight. The promise of liberation vanishes. And for the Allied leadership, the consequences are devastating. The United States and Britain face a brutal reality. Launching another invasion like this will take years. Ships must be rebuilt, armies reorganized, public support regained. American families, already exhausted by war, question whether Europe is worth another bloodbath. Politicians hesitate, generals argue, and time becomes the most dangerous enemy. Because while the Western Allies pause, the Eastern Front does not. The Soviet Union continues its relentless push westward. The Red Army, already hardened by unimaginable losses, faces weakened German forces. Without pressure from the West, Germany redirects divisions east. But it is not enough. The Soviets advance faster, harder, deeper. City after city falls. Warsaw, Budapest, Vienna. And when Germany finally begins to collapse, the Red Army is not stopping at Berlin. Now imagine the end of the war. Not in 1945, but in 1946 or even 1947. Germany is defeated. But who stands on its ruins? In this timeline, the Soviet flag flies far beyond Berlin. France, liberated by Soviet forces. Italy, partially occupied. Austria, firmly under communist control. Possibly even parts of Western Germany never see American or British troops. The Iron Curtain does not fall in Berlin. It falls on the Atlantic coast. The map of Europe looks unrecognizable. Eastern Europe is entirely communist. Central Europe follows. Western Europe becomes a narrow strip of capitalist states, isolated, fragile, and fearful. The United States arrives too late to shape the post-war order. Instead of rebuilding Europe through the Marshall Plan, America watches as Soviet influence hardens across the continent. NATO, if it forms at all, is smaller, weaker, defensive rather than dominant. The Cold War begins differently, not as a tense standoff between two superpowers, but as a world tilted sharply in one direction. The Soviet Union emerges not just as a rival, but as the dominant power of Eurasia. Communist movements across the globe gain confidence. Asia, Africa, Latin America. Without a strong Western Europe, American influence shrinks. Proxy wars become more violent. Nuclear tension escalates faster, because now there is no balance. And inside Europe, life after liberation is grim. Yes, Nazi rule ends. But freedom does not arrive. Political opposition is crushed. Borders are sealed. Economies are reorganized under Soviet control. Millions trade one form of oppression for another. History books call it liberation. People living through it call it survival. And the psychological impact on the United States is profound. D-Day was meant to be the defining victory. The moment America proved it could shape the world. Instead, it becomes a national trauma. A reminder that power has limits, that timing matters, that arriving second can change everything. America becomes more cautious, more isolationist, less willing to intervene abroad, which only accelerates Soviet expansion. A failed D-Day does not save Nazi Germany. The regime still collapses under its own weight, but it radically reshapes who inherits the ruins. Because history is not only written by those who win, It is written by those who arrive first, and in this world, the Allies arrive too late. History often teaches us about heroes, battles, and victories, but sometimes the most important lesson is simpler. Timing decides everything, not bravery, not sacrifice, not even victory. Just who gets there first.
Thanks for watching. I research and write every episode on this channel myself, where visuals are used to help illustrate these ideas. If you enjoy alternate history, subscribe for the next episode.